Hello and welcome to another My NT marriage. Today I wanted to talk about holidays. I'm not sure how holidays travel for you guys. In my case, hubby organises the whole shebang from go to woe, from start to finish. He is a high executive functioning person with low support needs, and so he's just a go-getter. It used to be that I put the holidays together. Well, I did a few, one or two, and they were so traumatic and stressful from him and his critiquing and fault finding, from how I drove there to where the accommodation was to what the activities were. He was just kind of backseat driving the entire holiday. So it wasn't a whole lot of fun. And then of course it got handballed to him, because sadly that's just how it goes. If you're a control freak and you want to do everything yourself because you think everybody else is going to fail and do it badly, in the end you end up doing majority of the work. And so that's how holidays have become his job. And he's very, very good at it. Very good at it. He misses nothing. He gets the travelling to there and the accommodation and all of the activities that we're going to do and how we're going to get to those activities, what we're going to bring to those activities, what food we'll have, what water, have we got sunscreen, have we got our hats. I mean, he is on the ball. He has it down pat. He's very, very good at organising the holidays. And we have been to some amazing places, beautiful, beautiful places. We went to see some Aboriginal cave art, which was fantastic. And it was really amazing because you're sitting there on top of this cliff thing, because you can walk up and climb up and sit. Not Uluru, we didn't do that, we wouldn't do that. And there's just this vast plain out amongst you. And there's crocodiles out there. I mean, you can't walk there, it's not safe. But I was just sitting there contemplating the fact that thousands of Aboriginal people have been there and lived there and experienced that scene for thousands and thousands of years. So truly, truly amazing. Another thing that we experienced, we were driving along. It's like this really dead straight road, and way up yonder we sort of see this black thing, and it just at first looks like a shadow or something. We couldn't tell. We get a little bit closer, starting to actually look like a thing. A little bit closer, and we're about 100 meters away, and we realize it's a buffalo standing in the middle of the road. Now, it wasn't a dirt road, it was a paved road. And there it was, just standing there, facing directly at us, just looking. And we were just like, wow, like it's the first buffalo we've ever seen. And it's just standing there, just watching us. Finally it moseys on and we continue. So experiences like that, I mean, they're a lot of fun, they really are. They're just great, great memories to have. And of course I've spoken before about how we swam in a gorge in Darwin, and we had a kiss under the waterfall, which is one of his favourite memories. And we've been to hot springs, and we want to see each of the states in Australia, and so we sort of dedicate, that's our holiday destination this time, that's our holiday destination that time. So some truly wonderful experiences. However, of course, there is a flip side. There's always a flip side, I think, in all relationships, good and bad. In the case of us, holidays are a little bit like he's the tour guide who's arranged everything, and I've gone on the holiday by myself. When we're driving in the car, aside from when we see a buffalo and go, wow, it's mostly silent. You can't talk really while he's driving because he likes to focus and concentrate, which is fair enough. but it does get a little bit boring and lonely on really long trips. In fact, it's like that most of the time, short trips as well. But anyway, there's silence in the car, there's silence back at the hotel room, there's silence at night time when he's gone to bed early. He goes to bed at like 9:30, 10:30, and I'm a night owl. So we're not really sort of chatting about the day or sharing the experience or sort of connecting and coming together. On the one hand, we're having these great experiences. We're seeing the country. Forgot what it was called then. We're seeing the country. I was going to say world, and I thought it's not world. I was going to say place, and I thought it's better than place. The country. But we're not really gelling. We're not really having this sort of cohesive gel moments. For example, there was one time where we stayed in a hotel, apartment something, and there was a downstairs bar, and I said to him, would you like to go downstairs and have a drink? It was only like 8 or 9. And he said no, he didn't want to. And he goes to bed early, and that's that. There was another time we were in Darwin, and they have this sort of celebration Darwin Day or something. I can't remember what it's called. And they have fireworks. Like, wowza. We're not allowed to have fireworks in most of Australia, but in Darwin they're allowed. And we happened to arrive on the day that this is happening, which I thought, how fantastic, fireworks. And everybody's just lighting them up, just everywhere. So wonderful. And he went to bed early. So I'm sitting on the balcony of this apartment watching the fireworks, and places were catching on fire, and fire brigades are going out, and there's people down below and they're firing rockets right up in front of me, and I mean, it was marvellous. But I'm sitting there by myself with my glass of vino watching the fireworks while he's in bed. It was a bit, I don't know, lonely, I guess. It's kind of like I'm having this wonderful time in Darwin by myself. Another time we'd gone to a resort by the beach, and again I'd said to him, shall we go to the bar that is in the apartment complex and have a drink? And it was only 9 o'clock at night, and he said no. So I went to the beach by myself and got a drink and sat on one of those banana lounges watching the waves come in. And I must admit, I felt really, really sad. You know, here I am in this glorious place with a partner who's not sharing in that experience with me. And later on we talked about that, and you know, he felt sort of remorseful and bad about it. But at the same time, the first time I spoke about us not going downstairs for a drink was the second time that it had happened. So he might feel remorseful, but he'll still do it. It's just bad luck, just how it is. He spends a lot of time on his phone and doing social media and taking copious amounts of photos and saying, look at us in this fabulous place, having a great time. And the reality is, it's just him on his phone, and it's hard to explain. We're having a great time, and yet we're not. If you're NT and you've got an Aspie partner, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's very hard to explain. He does watch TV. I prefer to book places where there are no televisions in the rooms. And he reads a lot of newspaper. If he's not watching the telly, it's not like a winnable situation. He'll go downstairs and buy 50 newspapers because, you know, everybody's got different stories or something. And he'll read. And so there's not a lot of conversation or connection or kind of quality time, or it's not any of the love languages, except maybe acts of service. And so we go there and he's doing his own thing a lot of the time. And if, for example, we do something fabulous together, so for example we went on a cruise, not really a cruise, it was a small kind of medium-sized boat, and we're driving up this river. Driving? Floating? Moving up this river. And it's a broad river, and it's full of crocodiles. And you're driving along and, you know, you see the reeds and it's all flattened, and the guy who's talking in the front says, such and such croc lives over there, and such croc lives over there. And so we're there experiencing it together. But there's not a lot of conversation. It's kind of like we're there together but we're separate. That's the best way to sort of put it. It's together but separate. I kind of liken it to a Grand Canyon relationship. So imagine there's this Grand Canyon, and you've got a cliff there and a cliff there, and we're kind of calling to each other, and we can see each other. But there's this vast gap between us. That's kind of how I liken it. So we have these marvellous holidays with these marvellous experiences, and they're shared, but they're kind of not. So I have gotten to the point where I sort of don't really feel like going on holidays as much. They just don't appeal to me. It's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, it's actually factually like taking our relationship, which is distant and non-connected, to another place. And it's amazing and gorgeous because this other place has got all these wonderful things to see and do. And he does plan the really coolest of outings. I mean, we went on a helicopter ride once. Oh, I loved that. That was like off my bucket list. And we went jet skiing another time as well. That was also fabulous. So we do a lot of things that are exciting and fun, but there's still not quite that connection. So holidays have become few and far between. I prefer now to do something like just go and stay in a cabin in the country, and we'll sit by the fire drinking some wine. We're not really sort of talking much, but at least we're sitting by a nice fire and having a nice relax. So we do have moments of togetherness and wonderful holidays, and we've seen the most amazing places, but I suppose you could say that they don't necessarily bring us closer, although we still have shared experiences, which I think ultimately are the glue that binds any relationship. And that's our holidays, that's how they go. Let me know below if it's the same for you. Do you love holidays? Do you enjoy them? Do you feel connected when you go? Do they stress you out in planning them? Are you on the other end of the spectrum where you kind of would handball it to your partner to organise? Or do you perhaps somewhere meet in the middle? Let me know below. Comment. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I really appreciate it.